Welcome back to Let's Talk. Let's Talk episode 27. Let's Talk Husband Edition. Today, I picked my fine husband to join me today, Stephen Hibbs. Stephen Hibbs, how are you doing?
I am very well. How are you?
I am very well. How are you?
I am great.
Now ask me.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
All right.
Okay. And so we have been together for 4 years, married for 3 years this year. And I would say that we're a pretty, society tells 20-year-olds not to get married at the age that we got married. We got married at 21 years old. And Autumn, our daughter, is 1.5. And I just feel like that's not what is portrayed. You're supposed to kind of live out your 20s, live while you're young. And I mean, what did we figure out today? How old would we be when Autumn turns 18?
40, right on the dot.
See, and so I feel like, we're pretty young. And so, we don't have a lot of marital knowledge yet. I feel like to us it feels like a long time that we've been married, but to a lot of people looking in, they're always like, "Oh, you guys are so young and you guys haven't even been married that long." So I just thought that we would do a little episode, and you picked out the questions for today's episode. We're going super cash, sitting on our little attic floor, got the LED lights going. And so, yeah, so tell me a little bit about the process of picking questions. Like, what made you pick which questions? What made you pick which questions that we're going to answer? And I have not heard any of them.
So, the process was picking different emotions and stuff to talk about us, and also with a little help from my friend ChatGPT.
Okay.
So, the first question is, how would you describe our relationship in 3 words?
Do you want me to answer first?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. How would I describe our relationship in 3 words? I would say, that's a good question. I would say funny.
Okay. That's a good word.
I would say compassion. And I would say, I feel like it seems like a really generic word, but I would just say kindness. Honestly. You know what? Actually change it. I would go with persevere, because, and I feel like a lot of people are going to be like, persevere, you guys have been married for 3 years. But there was a really big time in our lives where we struggled financially. We were both very unsmart with money, you could say. I mean, there were nights where, like, I was pregnant with Autumn and we were door dashing the night away because we had debt, or we were trying to figure out what to do for our family, or we were just trying to even feed ourselves. And I feel like for a lot of young couples, especially because we hadn't been married that long or together for that long, that would have been something where they just kind of checked out. You know what I'm saying? They just stopped being with each other, or being present with each other. And so I would choose persevere because I felt like we pushed through those hard times. You know what I'm saying? So which 3 words would you pick?
I would say blessed,
Okay.
loving, and also funny. Because we have a very good balance of being fun with each other, being loving, and there's a lot of stuff that we have that we don't deserve, and it's all because of God. So, those are my 3 words.
See, and with the funny thing, I feel like it's really big to be best friends with the person that you're with. Because I have found that I do have other friends, like other really strong girlfriends that I spend time with and do fun things with, but you are always my first choice. Like, when I think of going out and having fun, I always think of you. And, I feel like it's important to not only have that loving and romantic, relationship with the person that you're with, but being with somebody that you can go do silly, dumb things with. I feel like there's a lot of things that we do that I'm like, other people can't know about this because it's just so silly and, like, stupid that I'm like, I can't share this with anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. I completely agree.
Is there, okay, side question then for the funny thing. Let's share, what is something funny that we do that you're like, I couldn't do this with anybody else?
that we wouldn't do with anyone else?
Yeah.
Probably just go up to each other and tickle each other in the middle of the street. Or what else? That's probably the big one. I feel like I wouldn't go up to a stranger and just start tickling them. Or a friend.
You wouldn't go up to any of your guy friends and
No.
just start tickling them?
I would not. I wouldn't even touch them.
I also feel like being married comes with trying to annoy each other, but like that's a way of flirting.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a big one. Okay, go ahead. Go on with your next question.
And then, it's kind of what you just said, but what's your favorite and silly inside joke that we have? And then I'll go first. I think the first thing that comes to my mind is, wow, it's gone. First thing that comes to my mind is when, just the inside joke of, like, Autumn, when she, like, when we're holding her, and she wants to go down, and she's like, da, da, da. And we just look at each other and do that. That's probably my favorite right now.
I do like that one. Yeah, our daughter Autumn, she's at that stage where she can kind of communicate, but it's not with real words. Yeah. So she makes this noise, like pointing to things, or when she wants to go down, she'll go, da, 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 over and over. And so sometimes when we're with each other, we do that. My favorite inside joke. I don't know. I'm trying to think of one that I can share.
Oh, wow.
Here. Because I feel like there's a lot that would get me, like, canceled or taken away from YouTube that I can't talk about. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm trying to think. I would say, I honestly feel like becoming parents is taking the silly things that your children do or the frustrating things and making them silly with the person that you're parenting with. So I would agree, like the little noises that she makes. Or, like, for example, our daughter, Autumn, like, she's learning how to say shh. And instead of going, like, shh, she'll go. And so we do that a lot to each other.
Or we just go up to each other and just go like, stop, stop.
Yeah, she does do that a lot. I feel like we used to have our own, and I'm trying to think of what they were. Okay, I do have one. So back when we were first dating, we were at, I want to say, an IHOP, I think. And the people at the table next to us were just uncontrollably laughing over and over and over again, like at the most random times. And we were joking with each other that we should go up there and ask them and be like, hey guys, what are you laughing about? And then be like, hey, we want to laugh too. Tell us what you're laughing. And so now every time we hear somebody laughing in public, we'll be like, I want to laugh. Can you tell me? You know?
That's a good one.
Okay. Do you have another question?
Yeah. So this one is a little more serious. It's just, I figure we could just talk about how we met. And is there anything you would change about how we met? So obviously, we met on Tinder. And we both had intentions that we don't have now.
Mm-hmm.
We both were very different places in our life. I was not a Christian yet. And you were a Christian, but just not as close and into your faith when you say that. And we didn't do anything, but I pulled up. You've never met me in your life, and you just showed up in a Chick-fil-A sweatshirt and gray sweatpants. Just hopped right in my car, and we went to Walmart and got ice cream, and then we just watched the movie. Would you change anything about that?
I mean, I'm going to give the answer that I feel like my dad gives to these types of questions where, like, no, because if I changed anything, it would change the course of our relationship. If I could go back and change anything without it then going forward and changing us, probably my mindset. Because, like you mentioned, that I met him at a really dark period in my life where I wasn't thinking of getting married. I wasn't thinking of dating for that purpose. I was thinking of what will satisfy me, what will physically make me feel better about myself, because I was extremely insecure and, like, just not good with myself. And so I think part of the reason is I'll never forget when we met and you were like, I don't want to do anything physical. I just want to get to know you. And I remember actually being really angry about that because that's what I wanted deep down. But what I thought that I wanted was just to kind of give everything away and live life for myself instead of living life intentionally. And so when a man came into my life and was like, I want to be intentional with this, I actually got really frustrated. Yeah. And so I would go back and probably change my mindset, and tell myself, hey, this is really good. You're meeting a man off of Tinder of all things that actually wants to get to know you, that actually wants to pursue an intentional relationship with you. Would you change anything?
No, I just wish, if I could go back and, tell myself stuff. I think the biggest one would be, I feel like over time we really, obviously both grew in different ways. For me, for example, I feel like I never really stood up for myself. And then you really showed me, how to do that. And then, I just feel like if I could just, from the beginning, stood up for myself, we could have been a lot of places that we're at now a lot sooner and been more, successful faster. You know what I mean? But at the same time, there's a lot of stuff like the DoorDash that we went through that we wouldn't have been able to get to this if we didn't go through that. So, yeah. Next question.
Okay.
So the next question, was there a moment in a relationship where you thought to yourself and were like, this guy's the one?
Yes, actually, I was...
That fast?
Yeah, I was, because I was actually just telling, if you guys are a fan of the Steve Day Show, I was just telling Aaron's beautiful wife, Bella, about this the other day, actually. So, I won't go into full details, because I'm a pretty open book about my past, because it's my testimony. It's what makes me the person that I am today. And I feel like more women should be open about their testimonies and where they come from with other young women and just peers, because it helps encourage us to kind of move forward. But I also feel like there are certain details and things that you should still hold privately in your relationship and hold privately to yourself and between you and God. And so I won't divulge into the full details. But I actually had this moment after we started dating, because even when we first started dating, I feel like I was still kind of on this teeter-totter of, am I being intentional about this, or am I just dating another guy or whatever? And we had gone to a Halloween party. Do you remember what I'm talking about? And we were in the car. I was driving, and I divulged some things to you about just my recent behavior that I had been doing. A lot of the things that I wasn't proud of, things that I was ashamed of that had happened before I met Steven and knew who he was. And I remember telling you about a lot of these things. Basically, we had been dating for not even a month at this point. And so I feel like a normal guy would have that opportunity to go, okay, that's my out. I don't want this person who's, dirty and gross, and that, because that's how I felt about myself. I felt ashamed. And I'll never forget when you looked at me, and you told me that was my past, and as long as I was being intentional, not in these exact words, but basically telling me if I'm being intentional with our relationship and if I'm ready to move forward from that, that I have nothing to be sorry about to you, and that, that's between me and God, and blah, 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 blah. And you were just so kind and understanding, and I feel like everybody I had ever met, that was perfect reason to just tell me to go take a hike, and you didn't. And so I feel like that was that was the point in our relationship, in that time where I realized, okay, this might actually be something serious. And I think that's when I finally took the switch between, oh, this is just, another guy that I'm seeing, to, oh, okay, I want to be intentional with this.
I 100% remember that, and I remember that talk. And I think the craziest part about that is I don't think at that time I was even a Christian yet. But I was still saying stuff like, it's between you and God. And I had a good enough understanding to, talk with you about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I had, a sense of morals that were very biblical, but, I didn't know they were biblical. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was pretty crazy also. Next question.
No, what moment did you feel like you fell in love with me?
Right. Wow, let me think for a while. I would say the moment is when I was living with Ethan in my apartment in Ames. And I asked you, I think I had like a couple hours notice. I was like, hey, I don't have anything going on tonight. Would you want to come over? And at the time, you obviously still lived in West Des Moines. And you were like, yeah, sure, I'll be over in like an hour.
And West Des Moines and Ames, Iowa are 45 minutes away for people who aren't from here.
Right. And you came like within an hour. And you were just so happy to see me. I never experienced that with someone before. So that was the moment I knew. And when I sat down with Ethan, he's like, I like this one. That was when I knew. And I think just the whole time while we were dating, like, I had a pretty good feeling. Considering before you, the only person I had was 1 month. And it was one girlfriend, that's it. So, after a month, you were breaking records. Next question is, what's the dumbest thing that we've ever argued about? So obviously we're married, and sometimes we argue about the stupidest things. What do you think's the dumbest thing we've ever argued about?
Do you have one?
I'm going to think about one.
I have to think about one.
You have to be quick.
Okay. The dumbest thing we've ever argued about. Maybe not the dumbest. I think one of our biggest points of arguing recently has been we both struggled to figure out when it's okay for the other person to relax. You know, because you go to work all day, but I'm also here all day doing my job too. Because I, work for the radio station, I work for my dad, and I'm taking care of Autumn, and I'm taking care of the house, and you're at work. And so it's like when you get home, I want to clock out, and you want to clock out. It's like we both can't clock out. So I think right now that's our probably biggest point of contention is trying to find a balance between, okay, when do I get a break and when do you get a break, I feel like. Because I'm trying to think of dumb things we've argued about.
I guess I wouldn't say an argument necessarily, but sometimes when, like, we wake up in the morning, I feel like one of us just takes a very long time to get up, and it's not me. Anyways, and I feel like we bicker a lot about some of the just silliest things.
Like what?
Like, a famous phrase is, I want to enjoy the bed for a little bit. And then we argue about who gets to enjoy the bed.
Yeah.
While Autumn's in her crib just screaming our name, like, excited to see us.
Yeah.
I feel like that's pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the future, like...
Yeah, so for the future, just let me enjoy the bed.
Just get out of bed. Do you have any other dumb things?
I think... I don't know. I don't feel like we say... I think a lot of it just comes... See, but that... Because what you just said also comes from one of us wanting to relax.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's our biggest point of contention is that. Because I'm not a morning person.
No.
And if I get up in the middle of the night with her, I'm going to struggle bus the rest of the day. And so it honestly would just be easier if you do everything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for sure. Or I think another thing that we do that's really dumb is when... Sometimes we don't, like, pick shifts for who's going to get Autumn in the middle of the night. And we both just assume the other person's going to do it. Like, in the beginning of Autumn's life, we used to... Do you remember this?
Yes.
Where we'd wake up. One of us would wake up first. And we'd act like we were asleep, but just nudge the other person.
Yeah,
to,
like
get
roll
them to
over.
wake up. And then 20 minutes would go by, and then I would end up going and getting it.
Yeah.
So... Just go ahead and get her tonight. Okay?
No.
Next question. So now we're getting to the serious questions.
Okay.
So don't joke around, okay?
Okay.
What have you learned about yourself since being with me? And I'll go first. And I say, for me, like I said earlier, standing up for myself and how to be confident. I feel like I'm almost too confident now in myself, but it's a good thing to be. And just... Or another thing is, like, you've taught me, like, it doesn't matter what other people think. Just be me. Like, when we first, I think we were 3 months dating. Maybe, if even that. And when I dropped out of college, And my whole life, my parents preached college, college, college. And that was really hard for me because, like I said, we were only dating for 3 months. And I think one day you were just like, that was when I was driving from Ames to West Des Moines, 45 minutes every single day. And one day you were like, why do you need this? And I was like, I don't, because I was trying to be a personal trainer, and I already had the certification, and I was taking physics and spending 6 hours a week on physics, but you literally just like, why do you need this? And I was like, I don't. And I'll never forget that because there was some time we didn't speak with my parents, and then we came back, and now we're doing great, and yeah, so that was mine.
Okay, remind me what the question was. Sorry.
Wow.
Oh, what have I learned about myself?
Right.
I think something that I'm still struggling with, but you've helped me with a lot, is body image. I've gone through periods of, not eating. I've gone through periods of self-harm on my body, on my stomach and everything else, because I've always just struggled with the way I look. And I think for a while, we were living extremely unhealthy. And you were the one that actually wanted to get healthier first. And so I think you've inspired me, but you've also just inspired me to, take care of my body and appreciate my body and love my body more. And so I appreciate that. I think another thing too is just encouraging me through motherhood as well. Because when Autumn was first born, I definitely feel like I went through a little bit of a bout of, a little bit of anxiety and depression, which happens to a lot of ladies postpartum. And just, encouraging me and stepping up and helping me through that. And just suggesting fun things. Like, one of the things I'll never forget is when you have to get up and feed your baby every 2 hours. And one night you said, we're going to get up with each other, the whole night. So we can watch TV or goof around and laugh. And those are some of my favorite memories. And so I would say just confidence in being a mom and confidence in my body. And so just confidence overall.
That's a good answer.
Thank you.
My next question for you is... what do you think makes our relationship different or strong from other relationships? And with us being so young, what is advantages and disadvantages of being so young with a kid and being married? And finish it in 2 sentences or less.
No, remind me of the first question one more time.
So what is, oh wow. What do you think makes our relationship different or strong compared to others?
So that's hard to answer because I don't know the inner workings of a lot of people's relationships. And so
Right.
I would say something that I think is different is just going into the next question, which is our age. You see a lot of couples not getting married at our age or getting married older. And then I think the thing that makes us different too is just the idea that we have a child at this young, because I know a lot of married couples who are our age but don't have kids. I also know a lot of married couples who are our age and have like 4 kids by now, and that blows my mind. And so one of the things that I think makes us different is the financial struggles that we went through. Yeah. I think that really strengthened our relationship really fast. While a lot of couples, it takes a while. They go through a really big honeymoon phase and then they go through a big fighting phase, versus us, with all of the financial struggles. And I mean, I didn't have a job, you didn't have a job. And so we were door dashing day in and day out for a long time. And that made it so it's like we were spending a lot of time together, which created, arguments here and there, but also getting to know each other more and more as we were married. And so I would say that made our relationship different because it made it so we kind of had to mature really fast.
I agree. The DoorDash, I think, definitely is something that, it was at least like 6 months.
At least.
Because we did it all the way up until Autumn.
And after.
And after she was
born. But not with her.
No. And then I got in the accident.
Car accident.
Car accident.
That was very ominous.
Yeah.
The accident.
It was traumatic.
You were fine.
Do you remember the other guy?
I do.
Yeah. He was traumatized. He was traumatized.
Yeah, he was.
With a scratch on his car.
I know. He was so traumatic.
Yes. Next question for you. This is my last question
Okay.
for you.
Okay.
Second to last, excuse me.
Okay.
Where do you see us in 10 years? And what is the dream? This is a trick question. Because the dream is now. We're living the dream.
Aw, that's sweet.
God.
Where do I see us in 10 years? So what would we be, 34?
Yeah. Wow. Don't say that part.
Yeah, for real. I do still see us in Pella, where we live. We live in Pella, Iowa. I do still see us living here because we absolutely, I mean, like you've said multiple times, God has absolutely blessed us and opened up so many doors so that we could live here. And another thing is I just see us, hopefully debt free. We're really working hard to be there. And just being able to, glorify God with our finances more because I feel like we've got to get rid of the debt, get rid of that. It's holding us back from being able to give more to our church, being able to give more to, local pregnancy centers or local nonprofits. And so hopefully we're doing that more in the future.
I agree. I would say that, and also I would love for us to get to a point in 10 years where we can both, if Autumn were to walk up to us and ask a question about the Bible, we could point her to the exact spot where we can talk for 10 minutes on the topic with knowledge of the Bible and stuff. I feel like we have a very good understanding of the main concepts, but in terms of like, what are some verses for anxiety, or what are some verses for this, or like in an argumentative or like debate type scenario, like I don't know if we'd be able to just whip out verses, and not that that's bad because I feel like some people just cherry pick verses, but like to explain the Bible in depth like that, like
That's good.
that's something of your dad's that I really admire. 'Cause
Yeah.
he knows that thing in and out and is very well with it.
Yeah.
But I was saying, I think we'll still be in Pella. I don't know how many kids, 1 or 2 or 6 or 8 or whatever the Lord allows us.
Oh boy.
Probably just 1.
Oh.
But we'll see.
Okay.
But yeah, that's where I think we'll be. And then the last question.
Okay.
If someone was listening who didn't know us at all, what would you hope they take away about love from hearing this episode?
I think the number one thing that I hope that somebody would take away from hearing a little bit more about us is that, life is not perfect. Your situation will never be perfect. Now, maybe don't get yourself into piles of debt and have to DoorDash day in, day out. But I think the story of it, though, is that I feel like people always are waiting to be ready. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I need to do this and be ready, or I need to get rid of these things and be ready, or blah, 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 blah. There are things that are important to be ready. For example, are you emotionally mature enough to handle a marriage? Are you ready to be in that kind of physical, emotional, and spiritual commitment for the rest of your life? Are you at a good place at your relationship with God where your spouse won't become your idol? And even though these are things that you will still continue to deal with in your relationship as it continues, are you ready to deal with those things? Are you ready to be honest enough with yourself to face those things and to persevere through problems with your spouse? Persevere through nights of door dashing and nights of debt or whatever that scenario is for you. And seeing us still happy and thriving and being close and laughing. I don't think we would have been there unless we got through hard times with each other. So just getting through hard times and realizing that, yes, there are certain things you need to be ready for, but you won't 100% be ready to go to be married.
I think the big part of that is, how did you word it? Not waiting to be ready?
Well, there are certain things you should be ready in, like a physical, emotional, and spiritual maturity and being ready for that kind of commitment. But you won't always, you will never be ready for everything 100%.
Yeah, like finance especially. I just remember when we had Autumn, like we said, we were door dashing, and she's fine. She's doing good. and we're doing good. And
But I feel like a big part of that was following God's call for our life. Like,
exactly.
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like we're telling you, like, oh, get into the trenches so that you guys can grow closer. Like,
No.
we were doing everything we could to get ourselves out of that, praying every day, and praying to God, hey, if you want us to be pregnant, if you want me to have a child, then give me a child. Like, let that happen. And
Yeah.
I remember praying that, and literally, I think it was a month and a half later, I found out I was pregnant.
Yeah, I think the big thing is, like, we didn't just say we're gonna have a kid right now. Like, we let God decide that. We were doing as best as we could to be ready, but, like, you're never going to be ready. Like, even, like, I just think about, like, we went from Sun Prairie, and then we went to another apartment complex, and then we came here, and each time we did that, we weren't really ready to do it, but we did it because that's where we were led. And now we're finally, I think, seeing the fruits of our obedience, and we have a great community, and we're doing great. Do you agree?
I agree.
Okay.
That's it. Okay. And that was Let's Talk episode 27, Let's Talk Husband Edition. Anything else to say?
Nope.
All right. Well, make sure you follow me on X, YouTube, all of the things. I'm hoping to do some more reaction videos now that I've actually figured out how to do that, so stay tuned.
One more thing.
Oh.
This lovely woman right here will be doing the turkey trot in November. If you support her, that would be awesome. Thanks.
If you don't know what the turkey trot is, it's a
I
5K.
know the turkey trot.
Oh, okay. Well, if you don't, it's a 5K. I've never run in my life. I've never ran in my life. I've never run in my life. I've never ran in my life.
Both.
Okay, I've never ran in my life, and so I'm doing it for the first time. So if you want to see me succeed, follow me on X, subscribe to me on YouTube. If you want to see me fail, then don't do those things.
Because you won't fail. Because you only succeed.
But if I'll fail if they don't do the thing.
What?
And that was Let's Talk episode 27. Thanks so much.